Welcome to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison.
I'm Molly, a former skeptic, now full-time energy healer, author, and your resident science meets spirit nerd.
And I'm Madison, a born and raised witch, teacher of the craft, and owner of not one, not two, but 3 metaphysical businesses.
Together we dig into low-effort witchcraft, spirituality, and the science that backs it all up, all with humor, heart, and a sprinkle of chaos.
So whether you're a curious skeptic or a seasoned witch, find a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's demystify some magic. Howdy doody, friends.
Howdy doody, friends. We have a special friend in the house.
We are back with our favorite on-call astrologer. Chelsee Joel is here this week.
Literally on-call astrologer. I don't know how many times in the last 3 months I've had a week that I've just been like, Chelsee, what the fuck is happening in the planets? Please help me.
Yes, Chelsea's basically a studio regular at this point. I feel like she's like a canon character in the Demystify Magic zeitgeist. So many of you, every time she's on, are like, please, can Chelsee come back and tell us what's going on? I can't do it. I need to know.
Yes. And so as promised, we're bringing Chelsee back for the second half of the year astrology, what we need to be aware of, maybe a little reflection of the year so far, bunch of good stuff coming up. And we're also going to be unveiling a new segment that we are going to be experimenting with this month called the Fortnight Forecast. Fortnight Forecast, where we are actually going to have a little mini bite-sized bit of Chelsee in every episode this month so that you can keep track of the astrology in real time, reflect in real time, and just, if you haven't already fallen in love with her, prepare. Head over heels, baby. Literally, when she texts me, my phone is like, text from Chelsee, world's best astrologer, because that's what I have her in my phone. So welcome, Chelsee.
Hello. It's so nice to be back with you guys.
Yay.
We're very happy to have you. Before we get started, wouldn't be an episode without, what was your magic moment this week?
Oh, well, we are knee deep in preparing our garden, like in our yard space, which has been a really big dream of ours for a while to really plant the seeds, get the things in order, creating that dreamy space in the backyard just so we can have some nighttime bonfires and inviting the spirits and the energy of the bats and nature and the fireflies. And I'm just really looking forward to that. So creating safe spaces.
I love that. Wait, okay. So Chelsee, if anyone doesn't know, she's also an herbalist. She's like the only herbalist that I trust. I'm currently drinking her allergy spell in my coffee right now because the pollen here is egregious. So I have to know, what are you planting in your garden?
So it's interesting. I've been really hesitant to planting vegetables in the herb garden for the past 3 years. And I'm just like, Chelsee, get over it. Just mix it. So we tried that. We're doing some radishes and some root vegetables. I planted some strawberries, which are so cute.
So cute.
At this point, with the herb garden, I kind of really just like to let whatever wants to take over. So we have a bunch of mugwort growing, which is super witchy. We have marshmallow growing. We have poppies. We have so many beautiful, beautiful things. I like to plant for the pollinators specifically. And then whatever's left over for me is what I make my small batch medicines with.
I love it.
And I'm very excited about it. Yeah. But we have a lot of wild goldenrod growing, and which is what you're drinking. So we use some of the herbs that we grow in our elixirs, and that is definitely one of those special ones. So yeah.
I love it.
That's so cool.
We found out last year, because we just moved into this house. So last year was our first summer here. We found out our entire yard is surrounded by wild Maine blueberries.
No. Oh my gosh. What a gift.
And so last year, I at the end of the season, I bought a blueberry rake, and then I went out to rake them and they were all gone. So this year,
early, the birds.
I'm prepared.
Watch the birds.
It's the deer.
Birds, they're so cute. I love the deer. I love all the nature creatures, but they can be such little jerks.
It's the ticks for me. I'm fine with deer. I love to see deer. but I know with deer come ticks.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this year I'm prepared for the blueberries. I've got my rake. I know right where it is. And as soon as I see that blueberry go, those dogs are not allowed at the edge of the woods as soon as blueberries peak. So
That's so
Oh,
fun.
that's so, yeah. I remember we took a hike one time and we were like at the top of like this hike on this like little mountain. And I look over, I'm like, that's a blueberry bush, and that's a blueberry bush, and
yeah.
and I was just like in bliss, and I was just like collecting them and like passing them out as like little snacks. Like,
Oh, come on up. Come
I
on up,
was
girl.
like,
It's literally my entire backyard. Like
oh, you'll
the
have to send me
whole thing.
pictures.
Oh my God, I
I'm
will.
like, I don't know, talking about nature is so grounding to me, and I'm like, I think that's where the future is going to be leading us, is talking more about the little joys and little places in the corners of our backyards.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
I love that. Okay, before we dive into the episode, as I mentioned, the fortnight forecast. This is a new segment we're experimenting with this month. So let us know if you want to see more of these. But we have asked Chelsee to give us a quick and dirty rundown of what to expect in the stars over the next 2 weeks from her digital astrology calendar. So if you don't have the calendar and you want a little sampler of it, this is the fortnight forecast for June 9th, 2026, all the way through the 22nd. Chelsee, take us away. What is happening in the stars?
Venus energy is here to elevate our life. We are needing to be open to letting harmony take center stage. As Venus is teaming up with Jupiter, our capacity for abundance, connection, and joy is expanding. We are supported to put our energy into deepening our values and letting compassion and devotion guide our choices. With Venus's support over the last few months, it's traveled through all the signs, and we've been making space for bold surges of creative self-expression that ripple into not just our hearts, but into the lives of others we hold dear. Don't be afraid to let your heart shine in the shadows. Courage is abound, so you can attract what you truly desire. Remember to celebrate the magic of Venus in every facet of your life.
I love that.
On the 14th, we have a new moon in Gemini. This new moon is welcoming energy that reinvigorates our open-hearted curiosity. What house does Gemini live in your chart? This is the place where you can welcome fresh ideas and spark new neural connections, and trust that even small intentional activations create powerful ripples in the airwaves. We can be open when it comes to embracing change and stop judging the chaos as a bad thing. We have the opportunity to awaken flexibility and release expectations and allow ourselves to receive support and insight from our community. Be willing to be open, learn to listen deeply, and honor all experiences. This creates space for meaningful growth and unexpected opportunities to arise. This is a supportive time to speak your truth and trust that clarity will unfold, even if answers come later. And then on the 19th, we have Chiron entering into Taurus. Chiron is the wounded healer. When it enters into Taurus, we're called to ground our healing in the tangible, sensual reality of body, earth, money, food, and art. This is an opportunity to embrace Venusian wisdom and honor deep needs and yearnings. This shift begins on the 19th when we start to witness how we'll transform old wounds into seeds of growth, inviting us to bravely face our vulnerabilities, seek support, and build a future rooted in pure, authentic self-worth, creative power, and lasting peace that we're going to be experiencing until September.
Chelsee, thank you so much. For those who are listening within the time frame that she referenced, this is a great time to journal, take what resonates from this reading, and see how it might apply to these next few weeks. If you are listening after the fact, this is a great opportunity for reflection. Where did this show up for you, and how can you integrate it into future transits?
Yes, highly recommend checking out Chelsee's digital astrology calendar. This forecast comes straight from the calendar. So there is so much more to explore every day, every week, every month, every transit. We live and die by this calendar. Literally, it is the first thing I check every day. It is the thing that I reflect on. It is the thing that I create content from myself. Highly, highly recommend it. You can grab it on her website. The link is in the show notes, and use code Demystify Magic to save 10% off anything on the website. And thank you so much, Chelsee, for sponsoring this week's Fortnight Forecast. Now back to the show. Okay, I want to kick us off with a bit of a reflection of the last 6 months, because we had you in January and there was so much changing this year. You know, we talked about how it's a fire and air year, so a lot of momentum. We talked about how for the first time there's some transits happening. What have you seen as a professional astrologer over the last 6 months that has kind of been a consistent theme for people that you sort of saw in the stars and then now are seeing play out in people's lives?
So what I've been noticing with my clients and with myself and with like just bearing witness to the world is it's interesting. There's a deepening of the polarity of self and other. And this is going to be going into making a lot more sense, I think, come the eclipses in August. But what I've been noticing the first half of the year is that we're deepening into our path of individuation. So really stepping into how we are becoming our whole self and taking our own agency that's like in a strong way. We're like, you know what? I'm responsible for my life. This is what I need to do. And it's not easy by any means. It can feel really activating. It can be really uncomfortable, extremely chaotic. But what I've noticed with my clients up until this point is that we're all kind of starting to like break up the soil, like a thick clay-like soil is now kind of starting to kind of have more air in it. So we're actually able to like make sense of it and actually start to grow the seeds, which is hard because it's uncomfortable. The first half has been extremely uncomfortable because we're feeling possibly separate from an old part of ourself. And we're coming into this like reality. I don't want to call it a new world, but it's like a new realm, a new era that we're all stepping in together. And we're like, wait, is this okay? Wait, is this okay? And we're kind of like looking around and like asking ourselves and each other, is this like okay? Is this normal? Is this natural? Is this comfortable? Is this safe? We're finding new safe spaces within our own journey in life. Hopefully that makes sense. It was activated with Saturn and Neptune entering into Aries, which is very much the individual stepping into like, who am I? What is this? Courage, confidence is really starting to get activated. And we're redefining these terms personally. And we need to be able to kind of have our blinders up to an extent so we're not getting distracted in what other people are doing, saying, being, especially based on the past. Like we need to really allow ourselves to move forward and not always get distracted by the past versions of self, because these parts have become really sticky. And they are the ones that kind of create these like quicksand moments. I like to kind of imagine the drama of like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And like where there's like quicksand and snakes and all these things. And we're like, you know, he's just a teacher, you know, and like we're all teachers. We're all being asked though to become the hero of our own story. And that's really important to be able to be like, oh no, I can do this. I do have the skills. I do have the confidence. It doesn't feel like I know the next step all the time, but we are learning how to trust our intuition on a deeper level. And it's not always comfortable, but once we kind of get to that next point, we're like, oh wait, I do have my back.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just learning how to like get into the groove of this new aspect of who we are and what we want to be, you know, and we're making these sovereign choices. And I think that's really important. So, yeah.
I will be internalizing the idea that I am my own Indiana Jones. Just so we're clear, like that's going to be, I think, my mantra for the next 6 months. That I am Indiana Jones, and whatever is in front of me is just my quicksand moment. Like, or, you know, it's funny. I literally just watched the Indiana Jones show at Disney World for the first time. I've never seen an Indiana Jones movie. And so
Same.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
I know.
Guys, have you guys at least watched like the Goonies and stuff like
Oh,
that?
I
Like,
love the
okay,
Goonies.
all
No.
right.
To be
It's
fair,
No, I haven't seen the
Madison hadn't
Goonies.
watched Aladdin until we forced her to do it last fall with our Patreon.
oh
Yeah, I like
man,
chronically have not seen movies. It's like a sickness in me.
I get that. Yeah. I took about 10 years off
I,
watching movies. And shows in general. I just did
yeah.
not want to deal with what the media was feeding me. And now I'm just like,
Hmm.
I learn from it. I watch all these, I don't watch extremely cringe things, but like I watch cringe shows where I'm like, oh God, I hate these characters. But then I'm actually like using it as like a learning opportunity to like deepen my own astrology understanding, where I'm like, oh my God, that's like the low road of
Oh.
this, or oh
Oh
my
my
gosh,
God.
that's
Hmm.
this thing coming into culture.
Wait,
It's really
say
interesting.
more. How can we do that?
Oh man, I'm like, I don't know how to like make that like homework, but like I don't know, allow like where you're just like, oh, this is a really like scorpionic moment, or like a very Venusian moment. Like there's certain like ones that are like heightened where you can kind
Hmm.
of tell, but yeah.
That's something that we actually talked about in my tarot class. One of our students was so like basically the way we run this course Tarot 101 that Anthony and I teach is the idea is basically that you create your own guidebook for tarot using your own intuition, and it's something that you can like add to. And one of my students was finding pop culture moments for
Hmm.
every card. And so like when we would do the intuitive practice part of the course, she would write down like pop culture quotes that came to mind or like memes
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. That's what I
based on
do
the imagery of
on
the
social
card.
media and stuff. I like see things. I'm like, oh my God, that's so Uranus and Gemini. Like, oh my God, that's this. Like,
It is
it's
such a
wild.
great way to learn and integrate
Hmm.
when you can
Yeah.
like take the knowledge and then apply it to something else. There are tons of people on TikTok who do that with tarot cards too, of like popular TikTok audios. They'll apply it to a card, and it's
Hmm.
such a great way to learn.
Yeah. It's for me, it helps me remember things, especially when I'm using reference in my readings and stuff. I feel so cringe a lot of the time because I'm just so cheesy with some of the things that I say, but I'm like, it hits, you
Oh,
Hmm.
I'm
know,
the
like
same.
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I'm like, I use the Indiana Jones like reference all the time. Like I can't think of other ones that I use, but like
See, I love Indiana Jones as a reference because what is the path out of quicksand? Going slow and being intentional with your movement, because the
Mhm.
faster
Hmm.
you move, the
Yeah.
more you panic, the
Yeah.
faster you sink.
Yeah, it's
And
like
I
a
feel like,
regulation. Like you have to
yeah.
quickly know how to regulate yourself. And then also he has that whip, which is his like spiritual tool. Like it's always with him. If he doesn't have the whip or his hat, he's just like, who is Indiana Jones? He just becomes like his teacher role, which
Yeah.
is a cute guy, but like also like cuteness only gets you so far. You get to get your whip and your hat, you know? Like
Gotta get the
it's
tools.
like
You gotta assemble your tool belt.
yeah, it's like when you put it like when you wear a crystal or where you put on a ring or you like do your hair, you do your makeup, you're like becoming this version where you are like,
Hmm.
I can do this now, you know? At least that's
Hmm.
how it works for me as a Leo, where I'm like,
Okay, here's a question based off of that. I'm gonna throw it at you. We'll see how you answer it. Over the next 6 months, what tools do you think we should place in our tool belt to prepare for the transits that are coming?
oh my gosh. Well, I can speak from the eye in this where I've been feeling things before they've been happening like 2 months beforehand. So I can only kind
Same.
of it yeah,
Same.
we've talked about this in your reading, and I'm just like, you know what? Like as intuitive people, things are getting a lot quicker where we're able to like pick
Hmm.
things up a lot faster. It used to be 2 weeks a couple years ago, and then over the past 2 years, it's become like I can feel things 2 months ahead of time, which is annoying. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, I'm a practitioner. I help people, so I have to like process this before everybody else does to help them prepare.
Oh, that's a nice
Um,
way to think of it.
got to do it, you know, like
Hmm.
talking about where Chiron is and with just all these outer planets that we're experiencing with like their transits and stuff. The tools that I've been like going to is a lot of herbal stuff because it's bringing the earth into the body.
Hmm.
And that's a really big practice of mine. So I love hydrosols. from like small herbalists. I love my tinctures, like Moody Bloom and Lion's Heart have been my ride or dies. You know, really needing to pay attention to my caffeine intake.
Oh.
And like really being strict about it, where I'm just like, I wake up and I'm like, oh, I want to drink my coffee. And I'm like, girl, cool it, take an hour, drink some tea, do something, you know, an hour will fly by, and then drink your coffee after, because it really goes into the cortisol. Balancing, you don't want to just like peak your cortisol and then have that crash. So like really, really important to like pay attention to that, because if you peak your cortisol too high too soon, then that anxiety, that overwhelm is going to you're going to fall into the quicksand a lot easier. And so I guess another tool is our calendar. I'm like, yes, I write it and I'm the creator of it, but also like, oh my God, like it is so helpful. Like my partner is just like, did you read the calendar entry that Chelsea wrote today? I'm just like, you're talking about me. And he's like, it's so good. It's so damn good. And I'm like, okay, I need this.
Okay. I go to the gym twice a week. I have a personal trainer and he is not spiritual at all. He's actually like a straight laced, like Christian, but like super open to like all forms of spirituality. And every week he's like, okay, what does Chelsea say about what's coming up? And I literally between sets open up your calendar and I'm like, okay, full moon in Sagittarius. He's like, what does that mean? And then I read it and you just see his eyes progressively get wider and wider and wider. He's like, what does she say to do? And then I read like the reflection prompts and he's like writing them down so he can journal. I'm like, that. For his birthday next year, I'm getting him your calendar because it's literally like, that's our little routine is like between deadlifts. I'm like, here's what Chelsea's calendar says, or we'll like reflect on like when I see him Wednesday, I'll be like, okay, how was your full moon? Here's what she said.
I love that. That's a really great way to relate to people and like friends and people that like you don't feel that you have a connection with, but like then you're cultivating that. And I feel like that's what astrology is like evolving into. It's a connection. It's just another way of like deepening our one-on-one relationships and our relationships to community, you know, and I think that really goes into that Uranus and Gemini placement that we're like in at this point for the next foreseeable future. You know, and like really being able to spread it out. So important.
And if anyone is listening and wondering how you can get Chelsea's calendar, it syncs with your Google Calendar. So it makes it super easy to like keep on top of. I check it every Monday morning. And I also like bought one for everyone on my team. I was like, this is what we follow for our business. You can check the show notes or the description of this episode for the link and use Demystify Magic for 10% off. And that also works for any of the elixirs or readings or any of that too.
Yeah, the Google Calendar integration is not only super helpful for me, but my fiance and I share a calendar because we're both so busy. And so it's just helpful if I can see like, here's all my events, here's all his events. And he'll text me all the time and be like, what is going on astrologically? Like everybody's behaving in a way that I can no longer deal with. And I will be like, just go look at the Google Calendar. Like, I don't know. I can't tell you right now, but I'm sure the answer's on there. Because we live and die by the Google Cal.
100%. I actually started using a Google Calendar. It was my double dog dare for my Saturn return, where I was like, all right, Chelsea, you're in it now. Are you gonna do it, or are you gonna like just continue to like live the life that you have been? I'm like, no, I'm gonna commit to it. I'm gonna get myself organized, you know, as a Virgo rising, really needed to like get into it. And I haven't turned back since. Like it's just been the gift that keeps giving is that tool. Like I'm able to like live my life, feel my feelings, run a business, have clients, and like not feel stressed out because my Google Calendar has me. And also it really helps like as an astrologer, like personally, like behind the scenes version of me, like I take breaks from astrology because it's so much sometimes for my brain. It gets really overwhelming. I fall into the pits of doom with other apps and stuff because I need to check and see what other people are saying and doing and how it interacts. And I'm like, I hate this. Like, and then I need to like take space. And then I'm like, oh wait, I have a tool that's like my preferred version of it. So yeah.
This podcast is not sponsored by Google Calendar, but we'd love to talk.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So, are there any dates or timelines that we should really be paying attention to for this second half of the year?
So I feel like before we get into like the second half of the year, we really need to like sink into a new comfort within the chaos that we've been kind of swimming in, because it's all like now about to really come into fruition at this point. Like second half of the year is about like, what are the fruits? What is the flavor? Where are we going for the next first like 3 years, 7 years, 14 years, etc. Like this is so important. So like we had an Aries stellium in April where there was like 7 planets in Aries. Highly recommend listeners like knowing what house Aries lives in, because this is going to really give them a lot of context for like this fiery pioneering energy that got really activated. Also, we just started the Uranus transiting in Gemini at the end of April, and this is going to be going on until August 2032. Like that is scary to imagine that that's the number. But this is the energy that we're still very much in, and this part of our chart is going to be getting really activated because Uranus is the planet of disruption. And this is kind of like the quote that's kind of been like swimming in my head is like, the pen is mightier than the sword. And this is very much the Uranus entering into Gemini, where our words, where our reflections, where our experiences are that air element. You know, within like the tarot, we have the sword is the air. And so this is like where we're starting to kind of notice these like, what the fuck moments and oh my God moments. And where they used to be really high, they're going to continuously be at that level and that octave, but we're going to start noticing that we are so much more strong and confident and capable of embracing chaos. And a lot of this goes into integrating and practicing the idea that chaos is not bad. Chaos is actually where things get birthed, you know, and this is just a natural process. Chaos is actually what we often are yearning for. We just don't name it that. We're just like, I want this. I want to manifest that. We have to shake things up, you know, to actually be able to make space in our hearts and in our minds to actually be able to receive these things. And so when we're creating this block of this isn't how I imagine it would come, then we're just kind of putting ourselves in the way. But this energy of Uranus and Gemini is really kicking off that air, the air part of the year. Like in the beginning of the year, we were talking about fire really being activated with that Aries stellium, etc. And now with Gemini being activated with Uranus, this is when that age of air really kicks into. And so this is our mental landscape getting activated. And we have more to talk about with that in a little bit. But then we have like Chiron entering Taurus. This is going to be really, really, really impactful until September. So it's really important because this is when, and this kind of goes into like creating safe spaces, knowing what lives in your backyard, etc., where the earth and the body are kind of becoming one. And so this is Chiron entering into Taurus is very important for like how we're going to find the healing balms. And this goes into the toolkit, you know, aspect. And so it's like, okay, like coming into possibly knowing what house Taurus rules for you, but really deepening into like, okay, like Taurus has Venus undernotes. It's about self-worth. It's about connection to the physical. And so how can we kind of bring awareness into the physical senses and let those physical things of beauty and aesthetic and food and affection really kind of bring us a healing balm in a way that's going to like create lasting, stable, sustainable care for not just ourselves, but for that ripple effect. When we are cared for personally, that ripple effect goes out into the world and into the community. And this is just a really beautiful transit that I'm really excited about. But by the end of the first half of the year, we really are changing that, like changing and welcoming in like that fire and air energy, like for real, for real. It gets loud. the second half of the year. So
I love what you said about we actually want chaos. The image that dropped into my mind as soon as you said that was a choreographer. Like dancing looks chaotic until it's like choreographed. Like they're just flailing around and trying to find what feels right in the body and with the music and sort of like harmonizing movement to music. And that feels like, as you were describing it, that kind of feels like where we're at is almost like we've been a choreographer just like stumbling around. And now we're starting to like drop in and feel, you know, which arm movement hits. I have no sense of rhythm. I don't know why this analogy was dropped
I love
to me,
it. I love it. I think it makes total sense. It's kind of like when you're a kid, at least when I was a kid, I loved dance. And so me and my friends would get on the phone, you know, the days of the phone being on a cord and stuff, and we just like have to yell because like you're making a dance up. And so we're like, all right, we're going to shuffle ball chain over here. And then we're going to do this thing and we're going to like lean back, and we would create this like weird non-specific movement to this like to this song that we wanted, but we didn't know how it was going to look. We're building it. And so it's kind of like the first half of the year we've been like, all right, we want to include, we want this song, we want these movements, we have this amount of time, we're getting our pieces together, we're getting all the energy together and being able to look at it all. We're like, all right, this is a lot. And now this second phase or this second half of the year is when we really start putting all the pieces together for the full dance and then for the recital at the end.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, Chelsee, you mentioned eclipse season. And I know whenever eclipse season comes up, we always have questions from our listeners because there's a lot of fear mongering around eclipse season, especially in the astrological world. And one thing that I think I say this every single time you're on this pod, but one thing I love about you is you always give balanced readings. Like it's never this transit is bad or this is going to be good. It's like, here's the high road, here's the low road, here's what you can do about it. So what is your advice for this upcoming eclipse season? Can you share when it is, how it might affect people, and what's like our eclipse survival guide?
So the eclipses are happening in August. So we have an eclipse portal. So essentially, once I would say prepare 2 weeks beforehand, like just to play it safe. And then 2 weeks after. So that goes with the pre-shadow and the post-shadow, which we have a lot of that information in the calendar. But it's going to be August 12th and August 28th.
Okay.
And so we're working on a new axis of the eclipses, and it's going to be in Leo and Aquarius. And then it jumps back into Pisces and Virgo. So it's a whole thing. But like we're in that interesting phase with the eclipses. But essentially this eclipse portal that's coming up is asking us to reclaim our confidence in a totally new way, where it's almost like we're rebranding what the word means, what a lot of words mean. You know, we have some really sketchy world events going on. And so
say that again.
Yeah. And so with that, we are like, oh my God, he's so like confident. But it's not. That's not what we need to like relate it to. It's like, what does confidence mean to us, and how are we taking our power back? It's really important to reframe these words that are uncomfortable. Like even the word power, like this has been something that we've been working on astrologically for the past like year and a half, with like, what does power mean? How am I going to work with it? What does it feel like, you know, to embody it? So with these eclipses, we're in this rebranding of our confidence, because destiny is challenging us to bravely reinvigorate our personal and collective sovereignty with action and agency for the change we wish to see in the world.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so this first eclipse is going to be a solar eclipse in Leo. And the themes are really asking us to activate our passion, our identity, and our autonomy. And so the challenge, you know, with bringing balance into it, we have like the low road of the challenge is, I guess, like not the low road. I want to focus more on the middle way, because that's like what what I like to talk about more is like it's about balancing our individual leadership and our creativity with our collective goals and technology and how we're using it, and how we're really building our community connection. So like everything kind of really comes into one, where it starts with being able to be the leader of our own world, of our own life, of our own realm. And then it allows us to see, okay, well, how this is helping me, how is this going to affect other people? Because it's always cause and effect,
Yeah.
you know? And so we really have to have awareness, but I feel like we don't have to really like coerce anything to come into being, because we're like, this energy is already going to be activated because Jupiter is going to be entering into Leo right before the eclipses. And as a Leo, I am so excited for Jupiter to enter into Leo. And I feel like the eclipse, it's going to feel potentially like egotistical. It might, if you know, you have narcissistic tendencies, or you're like not a basically good human being, which I don't think anybody listening falls into those realms, but we can have
You better
awareness
not
of
be.
I know,
Turn it off if
heck,
you are.
get out of here.
But we
gotta
might see
go.
that in others.
Exactly. We might see that in others. And so in my celestial circle, actually, I was recently talking to the group about some shadow work that I've been going through as a Leo. And I'm like, you know what? Like, this is so cringe, but this is how my brain works. And this helps me, at least I think, become better at what I do and who I am and how I walk in the world. I see things in people I don't like. And then I'm like, oh my God, this one thing, or not this one thing, but like all these things are really shitty about this human being. And like, I'm just like, you know, and like really like bulldogging them in my own brain, but it's not going into making anything better. And so in reality, I'm like, okay, well, if I can see that in others, where is that in me? Like, I want to shine the light on inside of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, like, where could my narcissistic tendencies come from? Like, where can my bulldogging energy come from? Where, you know, like, and really being able to look at it, it's super uncomfortable. I think a lot of that has to do with Chiron energy going into Leo on the second half of the year. So, but at first it's like extremely cringy for the first like 2 weeks of like sitting with it, and then like tapping in and tapping out, bearing witness to it in real life, and then also journaling about it, like really deepening self-awareness, you know. And this helps me be more in devotion to my life and my work as an astrologer, as an herbalist, as a human being. And this is, I think, goes into like some of the things that maybe if you want to do some shadow work, you can start noticing the things that are super yucky about something or someone that you don't like or that you feel opposed to. And then you're actually able to face it on you and be like, hey, ego, like I want to see where you hide, where this energy hides in myself, you know? And the idea is that we're seeing it. We're not like needing to fix anything. It's just a bearing witness. And then it allows us to naturally find a balm, you know, and to find more curiosity and to find more creativity in how we can become even better. Because that's what this opportunity of the second half of the year is really asking us to do, is like to get curious so we can get better. You know, and it's so important. And it goes into like the closing out of like the second eclipse being in Pisces, you know, we're bringing closure. We really need to bring closure to past realities, to past delusions, to past addictions and addictive thinking, you know. And it's hard, you know, but that's where we have like community. That's where we have allies. It's where we have guides. It's where we have the calendar. That's where we have our tools, you know. And so with the second eclipse that we're going to be having, it's about really emotionally recognizing how these illusions have guided us, and to be able to see them, we're like, oh wait, I don't need to follow that line anymore. That doesn't actually support future me. You know, that doesn't fit that piece that I'm working so hard to become. You know, I really do actually need to let go of things, and through letting go, you're able to like make space for what is coming in. You know, we always need to make space, but this second half of the year is like helping us continue, especially the summertime. We're like clearing things out. We're like digging in and like really getting to the nitty gritty for the fourth quarter of the year, where we're actually going to be able to like, hopefully, I don't want to say coast, but float a little bit more often in comfort, in safety, in knowing that we've done the hard work instead of just avoiding it.
I would love to float through
I was just about to
Q4.
say, I'd love a float moment, even if it's like a
Mhm.
5-minute float.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like I'd love
Yeah.
just a break,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Just a back float in the
Yeah.
stormy seas of life.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Yeah. Well, that's what the retrogrades, the Mercury retrogrades especially, can really bring us. The retrogrades this year are all in water signs. So we're going to have,
Ooh.
yeah. And so like we have that opportunity, but it's like, are we going to choose to witness it as such?
Mm-hmm.
You
And do you
know?
have any particular advice? Like, what does that mean for us if they're all in water signs this year? Is there anything that we can do to kind of like float a little bit better through these retrogrades through the end of the year?
So when I think about the element of water, I think about, I guess, to like bring it back to like the middle way, you know, because like we love a good high road moment, but we know that those high roads are not forever, just as much as the low road is not forever. And we all are within that spectrum. And so, first off, having awareness of the spectrum, especially with it being in water, of okay, like this feels good, this feels bad, this feels right, this feels wrong. And like, you know what? We don't have to be perfect all the time. I think that that is going to be really well supported with how the planets are, like especially the outer planets, and how that's going to support this Mercury retrograde, the Mercury retrogrades to come. And I guess with finding the middle way and with leaning into the retrogrades actually being an opportunity for not just reflection, but also like a rejuvenation. Like we have that sovereign choice. Like that's where like with how everything is accumulating and building up together in like I think if we keep our emotional landscape in a place of I am safe. You know, right now I have these people around me that feel good. I have these tools that I lean on. You know, you're creating these safe spaces within your head, your heart, your home, you know, to really allow these retrogrades to like do the work that they are here to do and providing us is kind of allowing like a deep internal self trust and self care, you know, and with this retrograde that's coming up, at least, you know, within this time period that we're in, it's going to be in Cancer, and then the next one's going to be in Scorpio. And so we have Cancer, which is like where Jupiter has been for the past 13 months, like for all of last year and into like the first half of this year. And so Jupiter's been clearing the way. And I think with this retrograde, with Mercury coming up, we're actually going to be able to, you know, in my readings, if you were working with me last year, we've been talking about making sense of what it is that we actually need, what we actually can do to take care of ourselves. And if you've been kind of in this like pocket of this used to work, but this isn't working anymore, you know, like I know that we've talked about this in readings with you guys.
Big time.
And it's
Can confirm.
yeah, it's funny. I'm like,
Can
even with me where I'm
confirm.
like, oh my gosh, like this used to work and it's not working anymore. And then you're in that like bardo space, that in between, you're like, oh my God, what do I do? Like it's not working. And then this is, you know, but like you can like kind of like breathe, know that you're safe. Don't lean into that like frantic, like overprotective, need energy, and just be like, you know what? It's okay. I don't need to fix anything. And really leaning into like knowing that you don't need to fix anything about you, because innately nothing is truly wrong. And like this goes into the deep nurturing qualities of Cancer, and also is going to really help us with that last Mercury retrograde at the end of the year in Scorpio, you know, like, because we really need to like be, I don't like the word masters, but we need to be the masters of our own mind. And that's what Mercury helps us do. And it's a challenge, but that's like the challenge that we're all facing, is that we become the masters of our own mind instead of our mind being the masters of us. And this is why we meditate. You know, this is a big part of like what we talk about in readings, and what I'm always trying to like remember or remind everybody in the calendar to like, you know, I'm like, I have notes next to me all the time that are like reminding me of these things too, you know, where I'm like, this is almost like tattoo worthy. Like I need to be the master of my own mind. I can't let it be the opposite.
I was just thinking as you were talking about, so if anyone's not, if this is your first time listening to an episode with Chelsee on it, first of all, you're so welcome. Are you in love with her yet? But Madison and I have been getting quarterly readings personally from her. I've been working with you for like 5 years, I think.
Something wild. Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of the things that really stood out for me from our last reading was that conversation about like the things that have been working are no longer working, which is what I had been feeling. Like I had been almost like I didn't realize this, but I had been almost like trying to soothe myself through consumerism. Like I had just been buying a bunch of new spiritual tools and like trying them on and like playing with them and then just like putting them on a shelf. And I sort of like, you know, give myself the excuse that like, oh, it's my job. I'll review these things. And I remember going into that reading and you saying that for me, and afterwards reflecting on it and being like, okay, what if I dropped all of these things and just went back to the basics of what I know supports my soul? And I ended up, you know, we talked about this on the podcast a little while ago, but starting to go back to my Buddhist roots and going to a Sangha and like practicing in community. And that has been the greatest fucking gift. Like such a balm on my soul, such like, and it's not even like super fancy. It's just like sitting in silence with other human beings has given me so much hope in the world, has helped me anchor my own practice, and is like so much more simple than what I was trying to create. And it's those little things that I think working with you and like working with an astrologer in general, that like sometimes I don't even realize in the reading that has unlocked for me, but just like marinating on it and sitting with these themes, just all of a sudden I look back and I go, oh, that's why I did that. And I'm so glad that I did, because now I'm like, I have no interest in like spending money on all these tools. Like I want less things in my home. Like the attachment is no longer there, you know? And I just wanted to like give you that testimonial live on air because it has been such a gift. And I think sometimes, you know, I know this is for you and I, we text all the time. So you hear the full circle of how your readings go. But I know as a practitioner, sometimes, you know, you have a one-on-one with someone and then you never know where they go with it.
Yeah.
And you know, you never know.
That's the hardest part. Because I'm such a curious little weirdo where I'm like, I want to know, how are you doing? You know?
Yeah. But that was just something that I realized as you were talking. I was like, oh yeah, like that was the advice you gave me, and that is what I did with it. And it's brought me so much peace.
I love that for you. Like, yeah, it's sometimes hard. And I think we were talking about this on your last reading where I'm like, I don't even think I should charge you, because it just feels like I'm just like talking to you, like all friendly. And you're just like, no, I wouldn't do this if I didn't pay you. And I'm like, yeah. It's so important though to like, yeah, like, because I'm also like, you've inspired me, like the two of you guys in the podcast has really inspired me to like, and maybe this goes into it and it can be like of use to others, but like helped me realize that words are spells again. And this is something that I've been like marinating on for years. And maybe one day I'll write a blog post about this or something like that. But words are spells. Yeah.
Yeah, we're waiting.
That's the goal. But when I first started giving readings, I would always introduce myself. Hi, I'm Chelsea, and I'm an astrologer. I'm not a psychic. And, you know, the more I work with people in my quarterly clients, like, love you guys so much. Hello. I realize that, like, astrology is extremely intuitive. It's definitely a language, it's a patterning,
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
whole vernacular, which I think we all should start to learn, because it helps us relate to not just ourselves and our feelings, but it helps us really relate to others and just be just a basically better human being, like I've been saying. But with the quarterlies, it's actually like I see how things come into fruition for people, and like it gives me the confidence to be a little bit more, I don't know if this is proper, but like it gives me a little bit more balls to like say something,
Yeah.
more confidence to be like, you know what, like I think this is what this part of your chart is actually asking for, and I'm sorry, it sucks because it's uncomfortable or it's ugly or it's, like, stop buying stuff, just
Yeah.
like take a break, just take a break, girlfriend, like, and, but it gives you that time to reset, and then you
Yeah.
can like take it or leave it, obviously. But I think it's just so important. Like, astrology kind of calls us out. Astrology is that internal best friend that has your back,
I I
so
am going to
good.
agree to disagree. I don't think astrology calls you out because I think you need an astrologer who's willing to allow you to be uncomfortable. Honestly, because
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
astrology is just a tool. It's kind of like tarot, right? You could do a tarot reading and it could be like sunshine and rainbows, or you could do the same tarot reading and like give a more nuanced take. And it's
Yeah.
like, which one is going to actually help you grow?
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think it's that middle way that you always talk about because we also can't grow if we're in the survival response. And I think so much of what I hear from our demisties, why they love you is because you don't go the sunshine and rainbows route where it's like it doesn't put any pressure on you to grow, but you also don't go the fear route, which gets the most clicks and views on the algorithm. And it's really this path of like, here's the growth opportunity and here's the balm and
Hmm.
here's where you can kind of like navigate this, and that is where the growth is.
Yeah.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think that's what makes me continue to come back and work with you is I know that I'm going to be challenged, but I also know I'm going to be soothed in the process. And it's the same thing with like why I would go to Madison for tarot, because I know she would give me the same with the cards, right? Like she's not going to be like, oh, it's the Tower card. You're about to build something new, right? Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Which like is true,
Is
but
true.
there's
And
like, yeah, it's thank you for saying that, first of all, about me, because that is, I think, one of the hardest parts. Actually, like immediately when you said I'm an astrologer, not a psychic, I feel so much resistance to that because
Chelsea's so
I
psychic.
first of all,
It's
like
getting
also
louder. It's getting
reading with
louder. I'm just
you,
like, oh, okay.
but I think like what's so interesting about astrology, and you're right, it is so similar to tarot in the way. So I've recently been watching this show. It's a Korean game show called Battle of Fates. It's so cool. It's like basically a psychic competition show, and
Okay.
there's all different types of psychics on the show. They start with 49 contestants. And so there's some astrologers, there's some like just quote unquote regular psychics, like people who only work with intuition. There's tarot readers, like there's all kinds of things. And a lot of them do what's called soju, which is, I think it's like similar to astrology, where it's like based on your date and time of birth, but it's like different information as well. And the most fun of watching it is that everyone, even when they are working with the same modality, gets different, like focuses on different things, right? So
Mm,
even the soju readers, who they literally have like laptops in front of them, and so they have everybody's chart pulled up when they're like reading for people. They have the same charts in front of them, and they're getting similar information from wildly different aspects of the chart. So like, and the tarot readers, right? They're pulling vastly different cards, but getting the same answer.
mm.
in certain different ways, and they're delivering it differently, you know, but I think that it's a really important facet of any kind of metaphysical work to have, like, I think intuition is what allows you to interpret in the way that the client needs to hear.
What is that show and where do I watch it?
It's on Hulu. It's called Battle of Fates.
Okay.
I'm like halfway through, maybe. I think I have maybe a little bit more than halfway through. The structure of it is interesting. It's very different from American reality television. I don't normally do dubbed TV shows because I hate them, but because I watch it while I knit and I can't like keep up with reading the subtitles, I listen to it dubbed. The dubbing is very dramatic and not my favorite.
Great.
So highly recommend watching it with the subtitles. Although, or if you do want like a good laugh, the dubs are really funny because it's like the most, it's like very much giving soap opera in the acting of the voice actors. But it's really good to watch, and it's made me really interested in these other forms of divination that like I'm not super familiar with.
Yeah.
And just as soon as you said I'm an astrologer, not a psychic, I was like, I have to tell Chelsee to watch Battle of Fates because it's a good way to integrate that truth that, and this is something again that I say to my students in tarot all the time. I teach it with Anthony because we have such different reading styles. And so you can say to someone over and over, it doesn't matter if the cards mean different things to us. It's another thing to watch it with professionals.
Yeah.
And so that's my recommendation for anyone who is like building on their psychic ability. Watch that show because they're all famous in Korea or like well-known, very well-respected psychics, and they're all so different.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been like going down this rabbit hole of understanding the crosses of the chart, like the descendant, the midheaven, and like the ascendant, like all these different parts of the chart. I'm like, oh, okay, so my midheaven is getting activated with Uranus now. And so that started, we got a flavor of it last late summer, early fall. And so whatever was going on back then for y'all, really note that flavor, that essence is going to start getting the volume turned up even more, especially this summer. And then you'll probably start being able to make sense of it and like possibly like being able to exhale come the last part of the year. Because I don't know if everybody's experience was wild, but that time last year for me was bonkers in the best way possible. Also, like I was super resistant towards it. Because I feel like with the midheaven, and I don't know if this is how other astrologers think about it, but I'm like, the midheaven and the ascendant is where our psychic abilities really can get turned on, you know? And also, like, shout out to the Geminis. Like, y'all have a lot of funny little ways of being psychic, and I really appreciate it. The older I get, I'm like, this is really cool to be able to, like, have conversation, and, like, that is even almost psychic, like it's intuitive, you know, where you like are listening to somebody and then you're like, wait, I need to say this. Like that's how my readings kind of go often too, where I'm like, I don't know why I need to say this right now, but
yeah,
yada yada. And like a lot of the time it comes through sound, like music for me, or like 90s songs because I'm a 90s kid, or like pop culture movies from like that era too, which is where the Indiana Jones reference came from, because that was like one of my favorites as a kid.
Yeah. Goonies was one of my favorites. So it's so funny because you brought that up, but the Goonies has come up like 3 or 4 other times lately. And I'm just like,
good.
That's so interesting. One thing that I've noticed, I just feel the need to point this out, is I watched Clueless the other day at the nail salon, and there was something so refreshing about, I always forget. I've never seen Clueless in full. I know. The main character, what's her name?
I've seen this one.
Congratulations.
Front to back.
The main character, she has such an expressive face. Like she has wrinkles when she smiles. And that's something that I didn't realize I had missed from recent movies and TV. And that was something like, I felt so much more connected to this character, even though I was watching it in like bits and pieces while I was like chatting. And I was like, wow, I like, it's so funny because I have just been like in this sort of deep dive into facial mirroring is something that I've been sort of like just learning about, and how how it affects our nervous system when we make certain faces or we see other people make certain faces. And I was like, wow, how do we think like we consume media so quickly and we don't really have that same connection, like you said, with Indiana Jones or with the Goonies or whatever? And I wonder if it has to do with the fact that like we're not able to facial mirror because like things like Botox and filler and all of that has become so popular that it's so normalized in TV and movies now, and not demonizing that at all. Like, do whatever you want with your face. Like, I love that for you. People look amazing. But it's so interesting that like I don't feel that same depth of connection with characters anymore that I did in the 90s when that was not so normalized. I don't know, just something to put out there.
It makes me think about how, we're in the age of air and fire now. Like we're in it at this point. And so it's quick, and we have a lot of Aries energy and we have a lot of Gemini energy, and we're about to go into like some deep Leo energy as well. And so this is the bottom of the chart. This is the part of the chart where it's about us and it's quick. Where there's like, and with to kind of like go off of what you're saying, like it is hard to kind of notice actual like shock and awe and devotion and sadness, because like there is filter kind of covering things up, and so you're not actually as perhaps this goes into something deeper. And this is why like these outer planets are so slow moving. Like we're going to be experiencing for 3 years and 7 years and 14 years with these placements, where it might not make sense now, or you'll be like, no. But you'll see it in the next couple of years. You'll actually be like, oh wait, like I don't feel as like connected to the characters. I don't feel the grief or the sadness. I love Outlander. I'm such a sucker for romance and all that stuff. And I'm like, you can see and feel based on like their face, like you can see Jamie like with his forehead wrinkles, like you can see like Claire like feeling things, with like her face and like her whole body. Like it goes into like, it's the youth of the chart that's getting reinvigorated, and like it's okay to have these expressions and these like quick responses, like I think that that's like healthy. But then we can also be like, oh, okay, like I noticed that me having a furrow on my brow while I'm talking to somebody is going to make them feel concerned, so like I can have awareness of like, okay, I'm going to just soften my face. I don't want to reflect them, or you see someone with a scowl on their face and you're just like, you give them a smile. Like it's an opportunity, we could really start kind of passing kindness along through our facial responses and our reactions, and this goes into the eclipses, this goes into the Mercury retrogrades, this goes into the choices that we have and the opportunities that we have in front of us, and that's how I like to see the planets and the signs, is like they're giving us opportunities to make better choices and to respond and to react differently, which I think is quite important to like pay attention to, and it's not always easy to remember and to have that like awareness. But not to keep talking about the calendar, but I'm like, sometimes I don't have awareness, or I'm not feeling confident, or my curiosity feels really dull, and then I go to the calendar, I'm like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. Today doesn't need to be the day where I need to like do it, to coerce myself out, but I know that in a week this is going to be happening and it's going to feel different. It kind of gives you a little bit of hope and a little bit of gentleness within that experience that we're all kind of collectively having.
Can I ask you an unhinged astrological question?
Sure. I love your unhinged questions. They kind of make me nervous, but I kind of like it. So,
well, as you know, Love Island starts very soon. And I don't know if
will have started by the time this episode comes out. At the time of recording, it starts tomorrow.
Yeah. And so it's 8 weeks of these Islanders. Madison and I, big fans of Love Island.
If you couldn't tell.
I love Love Island. I love the discourse around Love Island. Last year, there was a lot of like it was a very chaotic season. People getting kicked off, people getting bullied. Like the internet was just everything. I'm curious for the next 8 weeks, what astrologically is going to be showing up potentially in Love Island that we can kind of like, you know, how you were saying, like you watch shows and you kind of like can see and integrate astrology. What can we look for if we're Love Island watching these people in real time that we can kind of see mirrored from the stars? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. My Virgo rising is just like, yeah, but they like record it like so early.
No,
like
they don't.
Oh, they
No,
record
it's
it
in real
moment.
time.
No,
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
in real time.
It's in real time, Chelsea. They record and they put it
Got
out within
you.
24 hours. So
Chelsea.
it's on 6 days a week for 8 weeks.
Crazy.
If
Chelsea.
you like cringe TV,
You're gonna love.
I'm telling you, you're gonna love
Please.
this.
And the best
There
part
is no
is,
TV
I'm afraid. I
cringer.
think I will love it a little bit too much.
then
to
the
it.
three
And
of
I'm
us
like,
will get in a group chat and we'll just, my favorite part about Love Island is the discourse around it. Like you watch the
It's
episode
the best time to
and
be
then
friends with us.
you spend 2 hours like on TikTok getting the discourse, and then you have a buddy that you talk to about it. It's so good. So we're watching it in real time, which is why I think it's the perfect container to like play that astrological game where we're like, oh, that's that Chiron or whatever coming out or whatever. So what can we look for? Like almost like bingo for astrology on Love Island.
so, okay, remind me. So it's 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
My brain,
Mhm.
that's saying it's going to be all of summer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we have, I think the beginning is going to be like really hot because we have Jupiter entering into Leo. This is where we really compassion. Hopefully, there's some compassion in there this time around. There's definitely going to be a lot of spiciness and like drama because Leo in its low road is like super dramatic and like, oh, like what woe is me kind of energy. There's going to be a lot of confidence, a lot of like egos perhaps that are going to be busted also, I would imagine. A lot of people kind of feeling like this is my lucky star moment. Oh. Like the people going on, I can only imagine how special they feel. And you might start really noticing how they start, like perhaps like pay attention to like what they look like when they begin versus what they look like afterwards. Like their egos are going to go through possibly an ego death, which I think would be really cool for everyone to bear witness to, you know? You're kind of putting yourself up on a stage, you know? So yeah, I'm down to watch that kind of drama. Also, my Scorpio moon's just like, yeah, I want to watch like shit fall apart and like people
Yeah, like really getting
humbled.
humbled. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see like hierarchies for sure. I feel like that's just kind of how it goes. And you might, I don't know, there might be some like underlying self-doubt, like in the, I don't know, like what they call it when they take everybody in like their individual interviews.
The confessionals.
Yeah, the confessionals might be really, 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 really confessional, which I'm all about. Like, I feel like there's going to be a lot more like raw and real moments. And there's going to be a lot of things coming out of people's mouths that they didn't even expect also. With Uranus entering in, well, being in Gemini at that point, hopefully they don't cut out the political part. I feel like how can we avoid that at this point? Especially with like how there's going to be Uranus is going to be trining Pluto and sextiling Neptune, which has a lot of good, juicy collective information for us. So there's going to be a lot of sparking of profound breakthroughs and then shifting ways of communicating. So we might be able to bear witness to like genuine repair. So there might be like a crash and there's going to be like actual genuine repair. I'm very curious, like post show, what's going to be going on within their worlds. Perhaps not in connection to the show itself, but I do want to note that like our First Amendment rights are really being activated. And so like within how we're being on social media about what actually is being showed, you know, like you might start noticing that the editing is a little bit different, perhaps this time around. But there's going to definitely be a chaotic makeover that we're going to start witnessing. So telling the truth hopefully comes through too. That's like the high octave of Gemini, is like they just unfiltered. They're just like, they can't hold a secret.
I am excited for that.
Yeah, I'm like, that's good. You know, it sucks for the moment, I guess, for them, but like also like to release the burden and like the stress of being like, oh my God, I have to like create this whole storyline. You know, I remember like watching MTV stuff when I was a teenager, and like it was just so performative at that point. But like it's gonna have a different flavor to it. So I don't know. There might be a lot of really good memes that go viral from it, from maybe like quotes or something. But yeah, and then once we hit the eclipses, like I think that's when things are going to start getting extremely chaotic. So definitely like pay attention to those dates when they're running that part of the show. And then we have like the healing, you know, I think the balm. And that's where I was like, I'm curious how the beginning versus the end, that timeline is really going to like, what is their hero's journey? You know, like we all have hero's journey. We all have micro hero journey. And I feel like there's going to be a whole hero's journey within that 8-week time. There might be multiple of them in reality because things are going so fast at this point. So yeah. Yeah. So that's like kind of like this summer.
Oh my God.
For all of us, like, yes, for that show, but like also for like things that we can start paying attention within ourselves and within our own reality shows that we kind of live within our own psyches, you know, like I feel like I definitely have my own reality show within my life. So
I can't believe Indiana Jones movie.
Yes, I can't believe I've
I
never
want that. I want the Indiana Jones
asked
movie.
you for like an astrological reading for Love Island, but I feel like this is now a yearly tradition.
Yeah, I need to. Yeah, and our goal for this summer is to get you into Love Island.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm taking off some time, so we'll see. I might have some time to.
You got to start when the show starts, because if you get behind, it is a chore to get back up.
Yeah.
So
also, listen, if you need my Peacock login, just shoot me a text.
Deal.
Got you.
Molly has her own profile on my Peacock. If you want to use that, it's called Bestie. The photo is of an old man, ? Don't really know where that came from. But
Molly, that makes sense.
Opened it one day and I go, oh.
Full surprise.
A hot new bombshell has entered the villa.
Oh, Chelsee.
That's hilarious.
We love you so much. Every time we have you on the show, people are like, more Chelsee, more Chelsee, more Chelsee. I'm pretty sure they like you more than they like us at this point. Like you and Anthony could take over the show and people would rate it 10 stars.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No way. Y'all,
if something
y'all
ever
are
happens to us, if something ever happens to us, we bequeath it to the two of you. You're going to have to get real close real quick.
Yeah.
If we go down in a fiery plane crash.
It's the Chelsee and Anthony show, and it will be glorious. Is there anything else you want to share before we send our listeners off to watch Love Island with your astrology in mind?
I want to devote energy to Venus. I feel like they have been guiding us and really helping us awaken to some of the heavy energies that we've been feeling, some of the scary energy, some of the unknowns. Venus has been kind of like definitely very much still in our inner cosmology forever, but I really want to bring devotion back to her and to the energy of Venus, in the sense of how our self-worth is going to be really truly activated and calling it into its highest frequency, because it's so important to see Venus as the activator of self-worth and connecting us to our values and helping us re-identify and recommit to our morals and not get lazy about it. And we all have Venus in our natal chart. Highly recommend getting familiar with where she lives, where they live in your chart, but also really practicing like following where Venus is currently in the transit chart. Venus has been guiding the way for Uranus, for Saturn and Neptune, and now for like Jupiter and stuff like this. And so it's really important to be like, thank you. And I just wanted to like kind of devote some deep loving kindness to Venus, especially as we deepen our relationship to ourselves and to the world around us. And what a wonderful helping planet that they've been this so far this year. And I just really want to invite all of us to kind of bring Venus into the forefront of our lives, because I think that that's going to be a great ally and a great tool for us. And
which is, it's time to leave an offering for Venus on your altar.
Love it.
Love it. Love it. Chelsee, where can folks find you? Where can they get this wonderful calendar? Where can they book a reading with you? Tell us all the things.
So definitely follow on Instagram. I am pretty active on there, especially in stories. Great place to ask questions and DMs. I love getting DMs. Oftentimes it's a response in voice memo. So if you like those, hello. Also, my website, consciousseedapotheca.com, is where all of our products live, where our digital calendar lives, where you can sign up to get a reading or subscribe to get quarterly readings with me. It's never too late to join those. I host monthly celestial circles if you do want to deepen your devotion to astrology and learning, but also kind of practicing it and integrating it into your life in a very like digestible way. It's pretty much a conversation that we have, and then we meditate together in that. There's Q&A available. It's really good if you are not ready for a reading or you're kind of like on the fence with anything with me. That's where you get all of me. And you can ask like very personal questions, and I respond in person to you guys. So yeah.
I love it. We'll have all of those links as well as our discount code in the description of this episode. Chelsee, we love you.
Love you guys too. Thank you guys so much for having me again.
Thank you so much for coming back. We love you.
Okay. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison. All our links, from spells to ceremonies to ways to support us, are waiting in the show notes.
We'd love to hear your magic moment of the week. Share it in a review, tag us on socials, or bring it to our Patreon clubhouse at demystifymagic.com.
And remember, you are the magic.
Okay, love you.
Bye.
This Father's Day, when you ship UPS Air at the UPS Store, your items arrive on time or your money back, guaranteed at no extra cost. It's like the father of all shipping services. It shows up to the airport way too early, just to play it safe. It's overprotective about all the things that truly matter. And it's always prompt, especially to be with family. Make it your first choice to celebrate your dad. Ship UPS Air with our money-back guarantee, exclusively at the UPS Store U.S. retail locations. Visit the upsstore.com/air shipping for full details. Terms and conditions apply.
Capture your favorite summer feeling with Pandora Jewelry. Discover a collection inspired by the sunshine, freedom, and moments that make the season unforgettable. From sun-kissed metals to personalized pieces, ready to be engraved with your summer mantra. Each design moves with you, from beach days to golden nights and every memory in between. Shop Pandora Jewelry's new summer collection, in-store or online at pandora.net, and let your summer unfold.